Hey guys, Justin from Simplified Investing. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Here's a few watches on our watch this week that we think you can take advantage of. So, as always, like anything else, the first thing I'm going to be doing is breaking down QQQ and what we've seen within this past week and what we can expect to see within the coming week, because as you guys know, whatever the market is doing, that is going to be a telltale sign a lot of times for mega caps. So being a primarily options trader on mega caps, it's really important to see what the market is doing. So for me, looking at QQQ, coming into the week, the first thing I always like to do is what is the weekly chart telling us? And let me move this camera a little bit higher so you can see. What is the weekly chart telling us, and what can we expect to see here? Well, for me, it looked like we were at first trying to put in a lower high here, but as you guys know, based on structure, that won't confirm until we make a new lower low, and instead last week we flipped the script. And if you recall from last week's watch list, I said after this big sell bar like this, as long as we're above its low, you guys can go back and watch that video from last week, last Sunday. I said as long as we're above its low, I think we trade higher. Now, I didn't think we'd come and break this bar and put in a bullish engulfing, but I said it looks really good for longs as long as we hold this low here. And we have done just that. And now what we're going to do is now we're putting in a potential higher low here after breaking this, and if we confirm the higher high here, I think we have potential up into this 500 area above. So the weekly chart is looking good for longs here this week. Now, what would not look good for longs is if we open up down here and we do not trade above this candle's high. So for me, based on the weekly chart perspective, anything over this 47728 area definitely puts us in the category for a long on a buy with potential up into like 493.68 and then into this 500 area. And when we go into the daily, we're reclaiming the 100 and the 50, and we had that strength here. So if you look at this candle right here, we had this strength, and I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this day where we were down quite a bit from 460 all the way down to 450, and then we rally and close near 470. So this is like a 5% move on that daily bar. And my thought process was if this was truly strong, you should see continuation, and then we got 2 days of continuation here. So for longs on Monday, 477.28 is going to be the on watch for me for that move higher. I do think we can trade at least up into this pivot here this week at 484, then above that into this 493.68 area above, which let me highlight that again, 493.68. And then this 500 area. So what we did here on the weekly chart is we're putting in a potential higher low, and then on the daily, we're also putting in a potential higher low here, which would confirm over this prior pivot right here. So keeping this on watch. One other thing I would like to note here as well is we had a nice hold on the Russell, comes down, puts in a higher low off of the daily 200, reclaims the 100 and the 50, and looks like we are going to be very strong here for that upside move. So if we can hold this prior day high, 22.01.30 going to be target, and then 22.44.70 definitely to keep on watch. The first setup, and let's break this down from a higher low, or excuse me, from a higher time frame to a lower time frame. We had a very weak or very strong selling candle here, an inverted hammer, which everyone is going to say, okay, this should test lower. We rejected the 200, we rejected the 200, and then we put in this slam lower, and then we don't even trade below its low. So this is telling us a different story, that this is actually strong instead of being weak. Yes, is this candle weak? Yes, it's a strong sell bar, but then we get this nice inside bar here. So anything over 232.63 for me is definitely in play for longs. I think we have room up into like 246 and even up into 249.35 on this failed breakdown that can really trap anyone who is short here. So any shorts from right in this area are going to get trapped, and then we can see that continuation move here to the upside, which is a powerful setup because these shorts are going to be stuck in this position. So 232.63 is going to be the line in the sand for me to take this long here this week. NVIDIA, another one that's putting in a higher low, and if you followed the Instagram story, I've mentioned this, that this looks like one that is ready to run. We put in a higher low here off of this area here. Nice weekly and nice weekly buy. For me, going into this daily chart, we're also putting in a 3-bar play with support at levels and also at this 50 moving average. So for me, anything over 120.40, I think that puts us on the table for a stronger move this week up into 131.46. On this continuation move to the upside, 3-bar play, and we're flipping the trend here from short-term downtrend where we're trying to fail. Now we're trying to put in a potential higher low here on the daily. So over that 120.40, ideally the back through open setup is going to be a very nice setup if that happens on Monday for this continuation trade to the upside, targeting 131.46 on the daily and then on the weekly. And when we zoom in to a shorter time frame here, you can see we're trying to trade in this 4-hour flag, watching this break here to the upside come Monday. And then the last one here is going to be Meta. Meta is one that's also similar in a 3-bar play here. But this one, I do think we can come up and tag these 544.23 highs. So we tried multiple times to break. We shook out here, so we've made that lower low, trapped those shorts. A prime example of a daily bear trap where everyone's saying, okay, I'm gonna go short below this for that bear flag move lower. We wick this out, slam lower. Anyone who shorted here is stuck, and now they're forced to cover. And from the weekly chart, we tried to push lower and then failed. This is a very nice weekly chart setup where we come down, and then slam higher over this bar's high right here. So anything over, let's go into the daily here. Anything that opens over either of these two levels, I'm going to be watching this long. Target is going to be up into these prior all-time highs right here of 544.23. So the biggest key is getting that follow through and not just getting a red slam bar that opens at like 520 area, 522 area. That looks like this, because then that would make that a lower high. So anything over this high right here that opens and can hold in these two levels, 527.53 or 529.33, I like this long, as mentioned, up into this all-time high right here. I hope you guys found benefit and value out of this video. If you are interested in checking out our team, feel free to head to simplified-investing.com today. We would love to have you guys on board. I hope you guys all have a great week, and as always, let us know down below what you guys are watching. Thank you.